Good evening and welcome to, that's right, the Orville Rewatch podcast or Watch podcast, whatever you want to call it, because kind of we're doing it both ways, really. We're going to be covering tonight, it's going to be season 2, episode 6, The Happy Refrain from 2019. But of course, I am not alone because if I was alone, this would really suck. Okay. But the good news is I'm not alone. I have two of my favorite people with me. And of course, number one, the man who, let's be honest, if he does have an equipment malfunction, he still does not brag about it. That is, of course, our producer, Dave Mader.
Hello, Jody. Do you think I should just go to the mustache now? Do you think that would be a
No.
good look for me? No?
No.
Okay.
I love that you won't even joke about it. You're like, no, don't do that.
No, I think he's right.
Yeah.
Oh,
Speaking-
you sent Adam the wrong link. So I'm just
Oh, did I? Okay. Well,
okay.
Adam will join us eventually when somebody gives him the right link, and it won't be me. So there you go. Anyway, and of course, how could we forget the man who has a mustache that everybody admires? That, of course, is Kevin Millard.
It's taken me years and years of growth, but I finally arrived.
You finally did it. Eh? You didn't even have to use a medical scanner or anything. It's great.
No,
And of course, we'll also have. Whoa, that's a weird one. There we go. Of course, we're going to have Adam hopefully join us shortly. He's a bit on the late, mostly because of my fault, apparently. But well,
It's okay, Jody. It's
These things
mistakes happen. You're not like Isaac who got the barometric pressure wrong or whatever.
You know
You're
what?
not an android.
You know what? My mistake only costed a little bit of time. That's it, I guess. So what can you do?
It's not a critical. We okay.
All right, fair enough. Well, we've been through this episode, gentlemen. How do we feel about it? I know Dave was very excited to be on this episode.
I was. I cleared my schedule for this, Jody.
You did clear your schedule. Wow. What did you have scheduled before this?
I almost was going to say, okay, maybe I'll skip tonight, and because I wanted to try to get another Star Trek: The Next Generation podcast review and check that out normally once weekly, but we're going to be going on to Lower Decks soon. And I digress. I was like, this episode is too good. I started watching it because I at least wanted to leave a rating, and I said, no, I got to be here, for this. And
it's
I
that important to you.
I think it was pretty good. This is a solid episode, and I think Seth MacFarlane, for all his faults, he wrote and directed this thing. This is his baby, and I think it's a pretty good episode.
Like when it comes from the, the whole idea of space travel, there ain't much going on here. But we travel into the psyche of the human mind, I guess, maybe.
The space travel is a little bit of a back seat thing.
There's a little thing episode. At the end, yeah, but that's about it.
But they go to a couple stars, and then look, space and some, and then we see them a lot of space travel is the travel part. You're just kind of going to the next place.
It's true. Sometimes it's not about the destination.
It's the journey.
Exactly. Kevin, what are your thoughts?
I don't disagree. This is a solid episode. It's fun. It's funny. It's serious at times. It's really good.
You didn't find it slow?
No.
I found it slow.
Not really. I did feel like it maybe could have had a better B story, like one at all.
Yeah. But I think maybe that would have been a good idea.
There is no B story. The B story
is
no
B story at all.
It's just the secondary characters who aren't like Claire and Isaac, this is kind of like an episode of Friends where it's kind of about Rachel and Ross, but it's also about everyone else who's involved with those people.
Yeah.
Right. So,
because generally all we see is people giving them advice and, asking for details, and that's about it. Like there's nothing to do with the other people other than just that, really. So.
Yeah, this feels like a real crew. I think this episode does a lot to bring that home. I think that the use of the simulator, the holodeck in this episode is great. I think that get Norm Macdonald as well.
We got to see Norm Macdonald actually physically.
Great,
this might have been one of his last appearances actually because he died soon, pretty much after
a couple of years of this. So maybe 4 years after this.
He's saying that we're not giving him the right link.
I gave him the link. What?
So I'm gonna.
I took it right. I took it right here. Same link.
Well, then I gave him the right link too. Then.
Hold on.
Anyway, all right. Well, hopefully Adam will join us when he can.
How could it be the wrong link?
I don't know. I don't get it.
Do you want me to give it a try?
No, I got another theory.
I'm not sure what's shocking, but apparently I'm shocking. All right. maybe elaboration would
Guess
help there.
can...
Yeah. Anyway, well, so shall we get into this? Will we wait for Adam?
I guess we have to. Yeah,
Sure.
We
have no
probably
other
should.
option.
We can't keep Sam and the the waiting.
No, they need to see and hear.
They need to
about
see.
this.
They need to
happy
understand.
refrain.
Exactly. It's a happy refrain. So anyway, we start off obviously with the Orville. No shocker there. And we see Claire, and she's in her office. And she's going through a report. She calls up to Isaac to basically say, "Hey, Isaac, can you come by and like proofread this for me?" For some strange reason, I guess the computer can't do that. I'm not totally sure why. You were thinking, we have fairly decent predictive text and spell check now, so I'm not totally sure where we're at here, but I guess maybe from the scientific angle of things, maybe she had things wrong. I don't know.
Yeah, my impression of this was just like Claire's not that smart in terms of like whatever she's writing about here. Like she's this isn't her strong suit, so Isaac kind of comes in and fills in the blanks for her a bit, and does some autocorrect.
Indeed. And then we get Bortus. Bortus walks in, and he has a request, a weird one actually. He needs a stash.
He would like a mustache because Mocklins don't naturally grow facial hair or any kind of hair, I guess. But they can if you use a stimulator, a follicle stimulator. So, yeah.
Which surprisingly
this is the B
looks
story.
Yeah, I guess this is the B story.
Him and Clyden is the B story of this episode.
I guess
I would have loved to see more of that. Like that would have been nice to have.
Yeah. Now Murphy told me he hated this whole joke. He doesn't like this part of Bortus. I think this joke holds up.
I think it's just a gag more than anything.
It's a gag, but it's only one episode. It's a one and done. And
I love the fact that they repurposed a Motorola hand scanner for this. I think that's fantastic. This is a barcode scanner. I've programmed many of these, but they slapped something on the top of it and called it a day. Really,
it's not like this is absurd. The notion that guy we got talked into this by some human guy
by the jackass of the ship.
Right.
Which Mercer actually explains later. Like we've already discussed that you're not supposed to be talking to him about everything. So literally, because he might. And then, of course, at this point, Bortus takes off. Claire tells him, give it about an hour, and then you'll have facial hair. And that's it. He's on his way out. Isaac walks in, and he's got a banana in his hand. And he basically, because he makes mention that I guess she gets peckish at a certain time of day, and she gets a little cranky. Okay. She gets hangry, I guess. And he thought it would be a nice thing to do, which is thoughtful, of course, but seems kind of odd. But anyway, of course, Isaac looks at it, tells her how stupid she is, and fixes the document. Yeah. And then she stares at the banana like it's a prize. I guess this is to kind of show us that she's thinking about Isaac, I guess. But anyway, we get to an external thing. We get our opening card, which of course is a happy refrain. And at this point, we just see Bortus walk in, and the hour's over, and the man has a Magnum stash that could rival Kevin's, I think.
The fireman joke's pretty good here.
The fireman joke's good. I thought that was good.
Did you become a fireman?
Yeah, did you become a fireman?
It's not plausible that they would actually make this joke, I think, in this century. Maybe they would. I don't know. Maybe firemen still have mustaches like this, but
maybe it's just it's just a thing that
it works in this.
It's actually over the centuries has become the uniform. You have to now have that mustache.
It's tradition.
Yeah, it's like maybe it's like a thing that you have to do.
Yeah, cops too, though. Like he looks like a cop, or
he does look kind of like a cop. Any tough guy, public figure kind of thing, I think is probably what we're going for here. But anyway, there we go. All right. So we basically, this is where Mercer basically says to what's his name, Gordon. Says to Gordon, like, remember this talk we had about how, like, you're not supposed to put all these weird ideas in his head. He takes things very serious. Yeah. And he's like, oh, this is one of those times I shouldn't have did that. And he's like, yeah, basically.
I disagree.
I completely disagree. I think it's a fantastic addition. Look at his stature there. He looks so amazing.
Regal, even.
He looks official,
Yeah.
He's like a Russian guard or something.
Yeah, he looks
you see him sit. You see him sitting there, and you're like, why would they put the command chair way in the corner?
Yeah, that seems like a bad place for the
That's
command
the
chair.
captain right there.
Yeah, that's got the captain. He's got a stash.
The way he sits very differently now with that mustache.
Like, honestly, until I introduce myself, everybody thinks Kevin runs this place, like runs the show here. So this podcast is Kevin's. We're
like the Packlids.
Yeah.
I have the biggest beard now.
He's made it. He got here. It's happening.
It's happening. It's Adam. I'm not sure if Adam can hear us.
Hello.
Hello. We got some massive feedback from you, though.
Hold on. Let's see if I can put his echo. Oh, he already has that. Adam, say something.
Where silence has no lease. All right. Anyway, so I don't even remember why Claire's here at this point, because she doesn't
to tell everybody about Ty's recital.
Oh, that's right. Yes, Ty has a recital which he's going to be playing piano at, which of course everybody says they're going to show up, even though some people basically said, "Do we have to go?"
They were expecting it to suck.
Yeah,
some of them
and somebody said, "Yeah, oh yeah, it was
Yaphet.
Yeah. That's like, oh, I expected this to suck, but it's good." You know. So, but anyway, so there's Claire, and this is where Yaphet's kind of whispering in her ear. And she's very excited, and everybody else is, of course. They see him and they're all excited. So this is where they basically praise the boy and say, "Oh, you've done great." And Isaac, I guess, is his piano instructor.
I have a comment.
Sure.
The first officer's boyfriend here. Whatever his name is, he's always wearing a shirt I hate. You know,
it's true. He does actually dress to not impress you.
I like this shirt. I almost want to like it, but I hate it still. And it's mostly because of the turtleneck look. You know, it's kind of like, what are you doing here?
You
it's
really
not
have
mostly because of the detached arm. Like,
that's
it's
also
awful.
Bad. It's bad. It's all bad. You know, like every week he wears a worse and worse shirt. I think this is intentional by Seth MacFarlane to get us to hate this guy, especially for me to hate him. I think.
Or it's a personal vendetta against him, against you, actually. So
Yeah.
might be that too.
It's a conspiracy.
It could be. All right. So anyway, and we see Isaac, and he's like standing basically completely away from all the crowds and stuff. And this is where Claire decides to go over and say hi to him, and basically say, like, you know, why are you kind of, you know, being away from everybody? And he's like, this is how I observe people. Speaking of people, do we have Adam now? We might have Adam now. Let's bring him in.
Are you gonna do it?
You can do it. There he is. I can tell by his face. He's got it now.
I was on time. I was early, actually, sitting in there thinking you just got to change the name. That's all right.
We sent the link like 3 times, and we're like, it's the same link.
So did I send the right link then?
It doesn't matter, but it kept going to Skin
Oh, it matters. It matters. I got grilled on air.
I think you did. I was probably copying. Never mind. It doesn't matter. I'm here now.
You know what? That is the most important thing.
It doesn't matter. I'm here now. All right.
I just wanted to make sure I wasn't getting blamed.
I was getting a little paranoid. You guys don't want me here anymore. Actually.
No, we were like, where's Adam? Like,
that couldn't be further from the truth.
We're like, he saw the link 7 minutes ago. He's probably going to show up. So, you know.
Anyway, it's you know what? Even people are coming out here, Adam, saying, "Yay, it's Adam."
Thanks,
we all
Sam.
agree. So,
Good
anyway,
cheering.
we're just chatting about this episode here, Adam. You might be familiar with it. Before we continue, do you have anything generic you wish to say about this episode? Did you like it? Not like it?
I really liked it. I liked it.
That seems to be the consensus here.
I liked it twice. I saw it. I watched it
twice.
I thought we were going to do this 2 weeks ago, and then I watched it, and then we didn't. So I watched it again tonight.
Oh, okay. Well, there you go. So I'm the only one that I thinks that it ran kind of slow, but it still was a good episode, I think. But
You thought it ran slow for you?
it ran slow, in my opinion. But
Is that just because it's a love story?
oh, maybe. I don't know. I've never been a big fan of romance and love stories and shit anyway, so maybe that's it. Speaking of which, these two are now sharing a drink, even though Isaac makes it very clear he does not drink at all. Or
There's no
eat.
mouth.
He has no mouth even, so I'm not totally sure what she was thinking. But anyway, maybe she thinks he has a mouth somewhere that he can use. But anyway, and this is where she kind of gets the idea of, I think this is where she asked him out on a date, right? Is it here or is it just
No, not here.
Oh,
no,
they're
they're
just talking about the recital and teaching.
Oh, yes. Okay. Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, because
he
then
still comes in with the banana and stuff after this. So not here. She does all that after.
This is where Kelly's working away and Claire comes in and basically says, "Yeah, by the way, I got a bit of a stiffy for the robot guy." And she's like, yeah, okay, that's kind of odd, but okay. And she's like, is it odd that I would want to hang out with him and have a date and stuff? And Kelly's like, I think it's time to drink, because that seems to be what Kelly always does. So she grabs some, I think it was Chardonnay. But I could be wrong. But anyway, I'm not a big wine.
I think for this conversation, she needs to go back to the edibles. One glass of wine isn't going to help this along.
No, not this one. This one's a hard one this is a hard one to focus on for sure.
Tequila, at least start with,
tequila might be kind of an overboard thing, really, for this type of event. But whatever.
Well, she's still on duty, I guess. So hey,
I think the wine is probably appropriate for.
Does that seem to matter on this ship?
It does not. It does not seem to matter.
Whether they're on duty or not.
She was
especially with Gordon.
She's like, because she wants to. Claire initially wants to have a glass of wine. She's like, I can't. I'm on duty. And then she tells her why she wants to talk. And then she says, I don't. Screw it.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's no synthahol on this Orville.
Mm-mm.
No.
Like Lamar said, everyone on the ship is on drugs all the time.
Yeah, basically. But basically, they have a discussion, kind of a heart-to-heart, about whether or not Claire should pursue this endeavor. Kelly basically says, yeah, give it a try, see how it goes. Just make sure you don't get your heart broken, kind of thing. And then at this point, this is where Claire walks in on Isaac, who's performing some sort of experiments or rewriting an experiment or something. And of course, this is where she basically says, hey, well, how about a date maybe? And at this point, he kind of agreed. And then we go into this. I thought was a funny conversation, even though it really was so small and it was throwaway. But basically, he's like, yeah, I just, every time I put the pedal to the metal here, this ship just does not respond as quick as I would like it to. Do you think maybe you could up this? And Lamar basically explains how this is a starship that runs on.
I actually love this. The pilot talking to the chief engineer, being like, I just want it to feel just a little better.
Yeah, just give me a little bit more response, And he's like, this is not a Porsche.
The pickup sucks.
Yeah, the pickup just sucks.
Right?
Yeah. It's like driving a Volvo. Like, come on.
These two know each other too, right? So it's an interesting dynamic.
But it was a cute little kind of thing to kind of introduce the scene. And this is when Isaac shows up and says, yeah, I got a date with Claire, and I need to know about this process because I don't know anything about dating. And these two are kind of dumbfounded, but then
they just rolled with it though.
They rolled with it, and then Yaphet got obviously very jealous because he's always chasing after Claire.
But I love here he goes, I require advice, and then Gordon starts to talk. And he just puts his hand in his face, and he's like, I'd rather hear from Lieutenant Lamar.
Yeah, I would rather hear from Lieutenant Lamar. Yeah, I think I actually missed that screen. But yeah, he basically just stops Gordon dead on his tracks, and he's like, no, not you.
Dan has some shirts too.
And Dan has shirts.
I think would have been funny if they went back and talked about zippers again.
Oh, that would have been funny. Yeah.
No, it wasn't funny the first time.
Just so you guys know, Dan has shirts, and you can borrow them anytime. All right. So Dan. That's the kind of top guy Dan is. I'm just glad we get to see Dan.
I'd like to see Dan in those shirts in the future occasionally, just in weird shirts.
That'd be cool.
They'd be like bowling shirts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dan.
So basically,
they all say his name.
They all just say Dan. Or
it's a spin-off.
I like elevator music or something like that. But elevator repair union or something. But yeah, so basically he's like, yeah, and Lamar's just like, yeah, well, you got to get yourself something kind of casual, but a little upscale, stuff like that. And then literally, like the minute he's out of the room, these two are running because they're just dying to tell somebody about this.
They
Which
go
I
to
thought
run,
was
run
pretty
right
funny.
up to the bridge. Which
Oh
is,
yeah, they're
Yeah.
flying up there, and they're like little 5-year-old kids, just like excited over something. Like I saw a puppy, you know. It was like that kind of thing, and they're out of breath, and they're like, I got to tell you something, right? And then Kelly's like, I already knew, right? And
In confidence.
yeah, she goes, in confidence, I was told that. But you know, now the whole ship knows. Which you kind of get the impression that Gordon and Lamar might be the gossips of this ship anyway, so it's
Definitely.
very possible. Yeah. But I love that screenshot. That capture.
But again, I would have liked them like fighting to get up there, first.
Well, they kind of did a little. They were like pushing each other on the
yeah,
stairs
they got
and
like
stuff.
up the staircase.
Yeah, they were pushing a little, but it certainly wasn't like anything like over.
They didn't push that.
It'd be
big
kind of
too
cool
hard.
if like one of them just like body checked the other one into like the side or something.
Yeah.
But what can you do? And of course, you know, we still get the
Ordis
glorious
was a
stash.
naysayer. He said, no, this relationship will never work.
Yeah, it will never work. You cannot have a biological life form and a robot together or something like that, he says. And then, of course, I can't remember her name.
Tala?
Anyone? Tala. Talia, right? Tala? Tala basically is like, oh, I think it's something you should at least try. You know, it might be good, you know, blah, blah, blah. And all that. And I just got messaged. All right.
No, you didn't.
Oh, okay. All right. I just heard it. Anyway, so these guys are like, yeah. And then Isaac walks in and Ed turns to something like, I can't remember what he says, but he starts talking about his dad or something like that, or his grandfather. He's like, and I told him he couldn't lift all that, but he did. And, you know, blah, blah, blah. And he's like going off. He's just changing the subject very abruptly. To the point where even Isaac kind of notices, like he turns around for a second and kind of looks at him. Then we see Claire getting ready for her date in the mirror. And then Isaac shows up at her door and he's got, you know, some pretty classy stuff on, and he's got a nice little shirt, which doesn't have any buttons for some strange reason. That's just kind of weird. I figured I'd let Dave talk about that, but
It's the future, Jody.
But he brought flowers at least. So that was good.
He brought flowers. Claire's outfit looks great. I'm now with Heather now. I'm like always like up and up on the fashion. Guys, I was on the drag queen show last night. I know what's up. And this is a good one. So
you're no longer street. Now you're drag queen adjacent.
I got drag queen cred, I guess.
Oh, okay.
So,
Drag queen cred. Okay.
Watch out.
Well, what can you do? All right. Straight out of RuPaul. All right.
Yeah.
Anyway, so they start heading towards their date, which is going to be in the holodeck, I guess. Oh no, this is when they're going to the orchestra that is going around playing for all the ships, right?
The summer tour, Jody.
The summer tour, yes, which there isn't really summer in space, but all right. I guess summer on Earth. But anyway, I love the fact that he's always standing like this. You know, he's always got his arms exactly in that position.
The physical acting by what's his name, Mark Jackson, who plays this character.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, he's really good. You know,
and he's the real the person that we see, like the real person we actually see is him. That's the guy that is in the suit normally. So that's also
he doesn't have like the function of to be able to emote anything with his face ever, you know, except for a little bit in this episode, but I don't know.
Well, he kind of tries. But anyway, so we end up seeing the orchestra performance thing, which I thought was pretty cool. Like I think they did a really good job on that. It is a real orchestra. It's, you know, these are apparently the guys from the sound production for the show.
Yes.
So this is the conductor. Sorry if I took away a fun fact, but
that's okay.
The conductor, this is actually the guy who is in charge of all the music on the Orville. And he's conducting this orchestra. So I thought that was a neat way of using that.
They go from ship to ship. That's interesting.
Oh, Jean Mayfield. She says, "I love Isaac."
There you go.
Which Isaac, though? That's what we want to know. The hologram one or the real one? So I guess we'll have to wait for her response on that. But what can you do? But
like even in the future, they all go to concerts. You know, when they could just go to the simulator and watch any orchestra. You could watch Mozart. Go watch it, you know, in the simulator. But you know, this still is like
the simulator is too perfect, Dave. You need to
this
have
is a
some
thing,
of that
this is still
irregularities and stuff.
a valued form of community and entertainment in the 25th century here. So
Yeah.
kind
Yeah.
of
Well,
neat.
Star Trek, same thing. Next gen, they always had, little recitals and stuff in 10 forward and stuff. So, yeah.
Yeah, future is bleak.
It can be
Future
great.
entertainment is bleak.
I like a good symphony.
We don't know
so-
for sure. Like sometimes in Star Trek, they kind of talk about how like there's some Klingon music that's pretty popular, or at any given time, or Vulcan music.
You know what? You haven't experienced Klingon until you've heard it in the original, or experienced Shakespeare until you've heard the original in Klingon.
Or something like that.
Yeah. But anyway, we see some crowd shots. We see Bortus with
Clyden.
Biden complaining
I
about the
am
mustache.
That's right. He's still complaining about the mustache, and of course, he had some food in it.
I do not like the way it feels when we kiss. You had yesterday's dinner in it.
Yeah.
Bits of it.
I love first though. He's like, everybody is looking at you and laughing at you, basically.
He's like, no, they're looking at me in
he's like,
admiration.
no, they're not.
Look at me in admiration. I just like that. Was like, this is like just this scene alone in the episode, it makes it a great episode. But this is like the B plot. You're right. It's like
No, but
I would have liked more of this.
then they go to the kid. The kid, of course, goes, I like it, Dad.
Yeah, I like it, Dad. But anyway, they're applauding for the composer to come in. I can't remember his real name. I remember reading it earlier, but I'm sure Adam will let us know that in fun facts. But basically, we get to see a little bit of an orchestral recording here, which is quite nice.
there's some weird instruments. I remember some weird instruments.
I don't remember seeing any weird instruments, but I got some shots of different things here.
Okay.
Those
of
all
French
look
horn.
normal to me. Who did we lose? We lost Dave. All right. Well, Well, either way. Oh,
I
there's Dave
think it's
again.
funny in that scene though, where they're
Right back.
the maestro, whatever the conductor. He said, "We're going to have some fun tonight with a little bit of whimsical rendition." Like, oh
Yeah,
boy.
and they end up doing "Sing in the Rain," right?
Right. Wow.
Yeah.
For a reason.
Yeah, obviously. So anyway, Claire's back at the having dinner at this point, where she basically kind of explains to Isaac, but Isaac knows everything about her because he's already downloaded everything. And she goes, well, that kind of takes the fun out of this, like getting to know each other and stuff. And he's like, well, this is more efficient. I know everything about you now. I know where you live. I know what your favorite thing is. All this stuff. So anyway, and of course I think it was potato cakes or something.
Like, what's my favorite food? Potato cakes and champagne, and that's exactly what he serves, right?
Yeah,
Like, here you go.
Yeah, so.
Basically, he does almost know everything about her. Yeah, and I think that this is like it's funny, but it's also logical in terms of how this potentially first-time scenario could go, right?
Absolutely. He had an advantage, so he took it, right? Like it's, I think I think some people when they first start dating would be very happy to have some of the information that he had. That could definitely,
Well, she'll enjoy something later that he knows. So
I'm not totally sure what you're referring to, but I have an idea.
yes, you
All right. Anyway, so basically she's just like she's not happy about this process because she's like, well, like this isn't really that great, and then oh yes, I didn't get the actual flip.
Let's turn the table or flip the tables on
Yeah,
this.
he
and
goes,
just
let's
flips the table.
let's flip the table, and he just literally flips the table like completely, and
And
she's
then they
just in
just
shock.
They
and
just
then he's
reset
like,
it.
Reset table, and then the table gets reset back again, and then she continues on with her conversation. But basically, they just they're just smoozing about this. But for the most part, like Claire is kind of bored because like she's trying to learn about Isaac, but Isaac knows everything about her now. So she's kind of disappointed on how this is going, I think.
there's no mystery.
Yeah, there's nothing there. So anyway, they're on their way back to Claire's quarters. And then Isaac's like, how about a second date? We can do it now. And she's like, no, we kind of spaced these things out a bit. I'm kind of tired, blah, blah, blah. And of course he doesn't sleep. So that kind of makes sense, I guess. But anyway, she gives him a pecking on the I guess his cheek, which leaves a whole lot of lipstick. So she must have reapplied after she ate because that's a lot of lipstick to be hanging around all evening. But anyway, what can you do? So
I wish she'd got him right where the lips should be. It would be hilarious.
that
to
would have
watch
been
him
better.
walk-
Yeah,
You
just
would've
a
looked
have
nice,
like
him walk onto the
and then
bridge.
yeah, and he's walking around, and everybody's just kind of looking at him like, "What the hell?"
He'd look like Mrs. Potato Head if he
Yeah.
did that.
Well,
Yeah.
they already did the potato head joke though, so
Right.
maybe they didn't want to do it twice. But basically, Isaac sits down, and the first thing out of Gordon's mouth is, "So, how did it go?" Kind of,
What are you talking about? Yeah.
And he's like, "What are you referring to?" He's like, "Your date, blah blah blah. Tell us the details." And everybody at this point is all engaged in this, like even
Bortus.
new Captain Bortus over there in his terrible chair.
Not that guy on the bridge behind them. He doesn't care.
No, that guy does not give a shit.
He doesn't
Oh, no,
get a
you can
chair.
see-
He doesn't
No.
warrant a chair.
Yeah,
You
he
can
doesn't
see,
even get
though.
to sit down. Like that
You can
guy.
see he's listening. He's got his ear cocked.
He's got his
back
ear
towards him.
cocked.
He's
Yeah,
listening.
yeah. All right, he's listening. So Isaac basically, kind of gives the deets, I guess. And then this is where Kelly kind of explains, like, you kind of have to do things a little differently than this. This isn't really the way. And then at this point, we go back to where we're having kind of a candid conversation now with
Tala.
Tala. Thank you. And and Claire, and the two of them are basically talking, and she's like, "Yeah, it's about time you came in for that exam. You've been here for how long now? Normally I wouldn't be this patient about this." And she's like, "But you check out fine." And all that. And she's like, "Oh, that's great, blah blah blah." And she's like, "So how did it go?" And so then they start having a little girl chat, of which at this point,
I just had to say, can we talk about the uniforms for a second here? Because when she has her like jacket on, she looks like she's ready to she looks like she's like jacked, right? But when she does it and she just has the undershirt on, I'm like, oh, she just looks like like kind of small, like sort of not as like intimidating. or
well,
whatever.
the shoulders and everything of the outfits that they wear are pretty big.
Well, that was always my problem with Alara too, is that she was so tiny.
And she's a really tiny woman, so she's like, you would think like
I had a hard time believing she was the security chief, even understanding the whatever you call it, the gravity levels and whatnot. But yeah.
So anyway, Kelly, just kind of barges in, and she's like, "I'm not here on business. This is a Kelly thing," and she's like, "So dish, basically." And she's like, "Yeah, no, it wasn't as great as it could have been, blah blah blah." And then the two of them kind of give her a little bit of advice, "Oh well, maybe this might work, And she goes, "Well, I told him to be more spontaneous, and blah blah blah." So sure enough, at 3:14, which is a pie reference, I'm guessing. Not totally sure why, because it was a cake.
It's an Ashley reference for her birthday.
I'll give you one more here. I'll share one fun fact with you. It's actually Penny Johnson's birthday.
Oh, is it? So
March.
Penny Johnson and Ashley have the same
They
birthday.
have the same birthday?
Oh,
I
isn't
guess
that
so,
delightful?
Isn't that like? And Ashley said no one ever has her birthday. Well, guess what? Penny
She's
Johnson.
wrong. She's
Make sure
dead.
to let her know, Kevin.
Now I'm going to have to cross-reference.
Oh, I will.
that.
You better double check that, because we don't want to make these kind of statements against Ashley unless we're
No,
sure
I
on
don't.
it. All right.
No.
So anyway, let's double
fact
check
check her.
double check her. Well, we know Ashley, so
Yeah,
Yeah, it's March 14th.
it is March 14th. There you go.
Born in 61.
Oh, there you go. She's looking great for a woman who's born in 61. So anyway, she's fast asleep, and all of a sudden she gets kind of woken, I guess, by the idea of somebody being in the room. Sure enough, there is somebody in the room, and it's Isaac, and he has a cake. And she's like, which the cake didn't make any sense to me at all. I don't know if you guys got it, but I didn't. But anyway,
Ed told us. Ed brought her a bad cake. Remember when they first had a date? or something?
you're right.
Yeah.
Yes, I totally forgot about that. That was earlier in the
Yeah,
conversation.
she was like, it was an ugly cake. He's like, the thought that counts, but it was
Oh
that
yeah,
was-
that's right. Yeah,
that was a funny
it
bit
was
too.
really ugly. And he's like, yeah, but it was the thought that counts. Yeah. But basically, she's like, yeah, Isaac, it's 3 a.m. Like, what the hell are you doing here? And he's like, I'm being more spontaneous. How about a second date, basically? And this is when the kids both show up. Which
that cake for us.
Yeah, and they're like, "Can we have some cake?" Hey, Isaac's here. That's cool. You know, that number one, this kid here, he totally is old enough to understand what could be going on here.
Ty is
Yeah,
Ty
that's
the older
yeah.
one?
You can tell. You can see it on his face. He knows what's
Marcus.
happening.
That's Marcus.
Marcus is the older brother.
Yeah, Ty is the little one.
But he's also acting like a teenager would if you woke him up at 3 a.m. You know, like well,
Yeah,
the
a
little
little
guy's like,
groggy and
it's
stuff.
time to get up. Let's do something. You know.
Yeah, yeah. Now it's time to move. And he's like, "Well, can we have cake?" And you know, Claire's like, "No, no one's getting cake. No, get out." Basically, go back to bed. So they go back to bed, and then we flip over to the holodeck or whatever it's called, and we see Lamar and he's bowling, you know, which is kind of cool. And he's with, I can't remember her name, Lieutenant something.
Ensign Turco.
Oh, she's only an ensign? That's why I forgot about her. All right, but anyway, but I guess the two are dating or not dating or dating.
Well, she was actually in another fun fact. She was in last week's episode at the birthday party of Portis.
Oh, okay.
Is she the one who like he answered the door that one time and she was like all like her boobs?
Oh, and she was wearing just this jacket.
Yeah.
Yes.
Is it
Yes.
not the same?
I think
person?
that is the same girl. Yeah,
Yeah.
it might be.
I also
Lots
like that their bowling outfits, their bowling team uniforms match their division
So-
color.
The minute
From-
I hit this, I was like, Dave's gonna notice that.
Yeah, no, and it's a nice touch. Like, I would have liked to have seen the divisions represented in this bowling game.
Well, I think at this point it's just these guys. So,
I know.
and the interesting thing is their shirts all have their last names on them. Like they don't have like traditionally in bowling your first names.
It's
on
usually
the-
your first
on the
name.
shirt, but
It's
yeah.
interesting that like he
Like
also
all of
threw-
Dan's shirts.
Yeah, Dan's shirts all say Dan on them. I'm positive of that.
the perspective of the scene is also kind of strange too, because he throws the bowling ball down the alley, and then where the alley is, that's where the door opens, right?
Yeah.
And so
Yeah,
it's
well, this
kind
is-
of like
It literally opens right in the middle of the alley. Yeah.
that would really take me
yeah.
out of like the illusion of it all.
A
Yeah,
little
for
bit, I
sure.
guess. Yeah. But, you know, it's also, there's a door in front of you and a robot comes out. So I think you have other priorities at this point anyway. But anyway, but Lamar also got a strike, by the way. I didn't catch that, but he got a strike.
Did he though?
Well, we think he did.
It's
We're pretty
simulated.
sure. Yeah. But anyway. Well, I can't zoom in too hard on this here, but it's Monday Mayhem, apparently. Starts at 8 p.m. What's interesting is that actually looks like Mercer. I'm not sure, but anyway, interesting. All right, well, either way, we got to see that. But basically, Isaac's like, yeah, she broke up with me, blah blah blah, and he's like, Lamar's like, oh, that sucks, blah blah blah, relationships, all this, and he's like, and then I think Isaac's like, well, you two are in a relationship or something like that, and both of them are like denying it. They're like, oh no, it's just a casual thing, it's fine. But anyway, so and then Gordon comes up, and I can't remember what even Gordon says at this point, but I don't remember it adding any value.
He basically said, "Don't ask me, don't ever quote me, or don't remind me never to say anything, personal in front of you," because he just
because he got grilled earlier
he
about
plays like the clip of what she said exactly. And he
Exactly.
was like-
Yeah.
they're all like,
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
she probably wouldn't be happy if you did that, or like she knew you did that, basically.
Yeah. So anyway, we go back to Claire, who's back on her computer again, and she gets a message, and it's got a huge font for some strange reason. But anyway, it says, "Meet me in Simulator 2 tonight at 8," which means they have more than one simulator room, which I didn't
You
know.
don't have to.
So, well, they don't have to.
Well, I guess
They can
This is
have
a big
nice
ship.
little-
This is like twice the size of Voyager, and they had 2 holodecks, and they were busy a lot.
Yeah, which they weren't supposed to be using, but they used them anyway. But what can you do?
They had to have like the Neelix vacation resort thing for a whole season, and they had to have the pool hall in France for a whole season.
Yeah.
You might as well conserve all that power.
Yeah.
But anyway, so anyway, she makes her way down to the hollow suite thingy, and there's Isaac again in the same restaurant that she enjoys, I guess. It's from her earlier days, I guess. And anyway, and this is when he decides he's going to show her, like, he's figured out a way to do this where he's going to convert himself in the simulator to look like a human. which turns out is just the actor
And I
that's
think
normally in the
this
Isaac
is
suit.
where the episode, where it's a real obvious, easy thing to do. Just take the actor out of the suit and whatever. But like, it makes
sure.
so much sense, for them to do.
Well,
an
and he
episode
sounds
like
the same,
this.
right? Because they use his normal voice for everything, right?
And
So
there was
it's
kind of like this magic moment here, right, where it flips over.
it is kind of neat. Yeah, it is. It's cool. This is the first time we get to see this guy's face. Unless you've looked at like press check and stuff and everything, but. This is the kind of the first time we see Isaac as
They literally humanize him in front of us.
Yeah, exactly. And this is where Claire's like, "Oh, this works," and she's kind of touching him a little bit and stuff like that. And then at that point, they sit down, have a dinner again, and he also explains to her, "Oh, by the way, I also purged all information about you, so I can experience it for the first time and learn it." So then they start talking about, I think she's from Milwaukee or something.
Baltimore.
Baltimore.
I want to know more about Baltimore.
Yeah,
Said no one ever.
This one, yeah, I get it. She's becoming more emotionally attached to him. And then they have a kiss, and he's like, "Did I do this right?" And she's like, "Yeah, you did that right."
There's 20 years age difference between these two, but they have good chemistry.
Oh, absolutely. I think actually the guy who plays Isaac, I think, is pretty. He keeps exactly the way he should through the whole thing, which is great. Which has to be hard when you're wearing a costume most of the time, and now you're not. Even like little subtle mannerisms and stuff would normally slip by you. So I think it's interesting that like he even holds himself the same way that Isaac holds himself normally. Like so I thought that was kind of neat. That you can change his appearance, but you can't change how he acts, right?
Well, it's the constant poker face, right? That he does is really good here, but he still has emotion in his eyes, which is kind of cool.
Yeah, this is where things got creepy, in my opinion. But anyway, yeah, she's like, "Yeah, I got an idea. Let's go back to my place."
I would have appreciated more of like a Tasha Yar Data moment where the door just closes.
The door closes and we're done. Yeah, that would have been that would have been better.
This was okay, but it went on for about 10 seconds longer than I wanted. That's all.
Yeah.
Well, it's more the description.
Yeah,
It is more the description we get right after, actually.
yeah, which is here. This is when she's dishing to the girls.
He was moving to the beat.
He was moving to the beat. Perfect symphony of it.
Perfect. Couldn't go better. Knew exactly where to go.
Knew exactly when to move, when to be where.
She said, I thought it would be mathematical. And then she says, turns out that's exactly what I wanted.
Just like a machine.
Yeah. Well, there might be some ladies that might also say the same thing. So who knows? But anyway, so yeah, basically, I like how the difference of opinion on these two is kind of neat, how it kind of contrasts, because you have Talia, who's like the whole time she's like giddy about this and everything. And then you have Kelly, who goes from giddy to like absolute dead serious, back to giddy again, back to serious again. So it's kind of interesting how she's still trying to like maintain the fact that she's like second in command, even though this is like, girl talk, I guess.
Yeah. Tala here, she's new to the ship, but she's kind of slotted right in.
Oh yeah, she slots right in, no problem. But yeah, they basically goof about it, and then Isaac goes back to, I think it's Lamar.
Great moment here where they're like, I think I'm in love, and then she's like, so we banged or we had coitus or whatever he says, and then now I want to end the relationship.
And now I want to drop her.
Now I've learned everything I can. Doesn't matter. Who cares?
Experiment is over.
Yeah.
And you can just see in Lamar's face, he's just like, "Oh, this is gonna suck."
Like it's really funny. Like it's it's
so
well,
here's
this is great.
This is probably the best part of the whole episode, especially the lines that he comes up with is just fantastic.
He speed runs the worst things to say. It's amazing.
Absolute worst thing. So basically, she opens up and he's got, for lack of a better word, a wife beater on. And basically, he's in
tidy
full underwear.
whities
and tidy whities, yeah, which are not tidy at all, by the way. They're very loose on him. So, but I also like the fact that his shirt has like pit stains and stuff.
They really
like
a lot of detail here.
Oh, lots of detail. And he's like,
the beer.
"Hello, I was wondering when you're coming in to make me my dinner. I'm very hungry."
But he says that in like the polite Isaac way all the time.
I am I am very displeased.
Yeah, very
Or it
displeased.
has made me displeased.
Yeah.
That's what he says.
And then Claire's just like dumbfounded by this, and she's like, "What?" And then I can't remember the next one he says. He says, "What was it? I don't remember." But basically, it was the getting fat thing. I think is what he said next.
Oh yeah, you don't need any dessert.
Yeah, you don't
And then
need
he-
any dessert.
Yeah, that asked if she's on her period, and then said,
Yeah.
"I'm incapable
Are
of
you on your
stuttering,
period?"
so I must conclude you heard me."
Yeah. I must conclude you heard me because I'm not capable of stuttering. Which is a funny way of saying that. Oh, there's Adam again. What time is it, Adam?
Like,
Almost time.
Almost time. But anyway, we're not totally sure what happens to you at 9 o'clock, but it always seems to happen. Anyway, so Claire is very disgusted by how he is acting. This is definitely not the Isaac that she wanted to know, but yeah, like that shirt is so grimy. It's also inside out too, which I didn't notice until the close up, but that's fantastic too. But anyway, she's like, yeah, no, this is not it. Like this is terrible. And she's like, get out. I don't want to see you anymore. Get out. And he's like, oh, okay. And he just, I wanted to see a scene where like he's walking around and everybody's just kind of looking at him like, what the fuck are you wearing? Like,
Go with it.
yeah. And he's just like, you know, he doesn't pay any attention to anybody. But that would have been good. And then of course we see she's not happy about this situation. See, now this would have been great if he just showed up on the bridge with the tidy whities on. That would have been fantastic. But what can you do?
I kind of like it how Lamar gets away with all of this. He's the instigator here.
He's totally the instigator, and yet nobody chastised him, but they chastised Gordon for the mustache, which I thought.
Well, they all get mad at him here. They all call him a jerk because
they're like, what a
love
big
him and
jerk.
leave him. You know, bad look.
Yeah, bad look. Love him and leave him. Blah blah blah. Yeah.
And Isaac, who can't feel emotion, does appear to be shamed here. You know,
he does appear to be shamed, but I don't think he is.
No, but actually he is. I think, I don't know if you caught it, but he did a really cool look with the head, like how he just sort of looked down and
Let's go back.
away from the console, you know?
Yeah, I don't think I got it.
Yeah.
But basically, everybody's kind of chirping him on this bridge, but they're not directly saying him. They're just like, "Oh, if I had a guy like that, that guy would be a jerk," and you know all that stuff to kind of do the subtle.
But we
thing.
know like this episode does a lot to bond Isaac and this crew together, not just Claire and him in this episode.
That's
which,
true.
Of course,
Yeah.
And we're leading up to the the big hurrah that's going to come up with the Kalon soon. So
yeah. I like that screenshot. I don't know why. But anyway, she looks like she's like doing a.
that sums up the mood of the bridge crew, basically.
Yeah, they were not happy with him. So anyway, we see Claire and she's just getting drunk at the bar. And at this point, this is when the late great, of course, Norm Macdonald shows up, who is the voice of Yaphet. And this is his the form that he decided to take in the holodeck to make himself more appealable. Not totally sure that's what was going on here, but anyway. But she's just grossed out by this. She's like, Yaphet, no. Like, just no. Like, she's so done with him.
It was cool. It was cool that they got Norm Macdonald on set to do this.
It
I
is
think
cool.
normally
And
he was
as I
just
said, we didn't know then, but you know, this might have been one of his last appearances.
It's among them, yeah. Like in terms
on
of acting
shows,
wise, I think so for sure.
Yeah, because he died just after season 2. He
died
recorded all of his voice work for season 3, but
he died in 2021, 2 years after this.
Yeah,
aired. So
after this aired, yeah. But yeah, no, it's
tall. Look how tall he is.
He's a tall dude. Yeah, he was a tall dude for sure.
6'3".
Was he 6'3"? Oh wow.
Apparently.
I do like the fact that he goes and grabs I think it's whiskey. And he's like, want some whiskey? And she's just like, oh, and she just walks away from him. Like she's just
What?
He's like, what? You know?
But it's amazing that, like, yeah, this is exactly who Yaphet is. Like, it completely suits the personality.
It's literally Norm Macdonald in gelatinous form. Yeah, like it was great to have him on the show for sure. So anyway, Claire gets back and she meets up with Isaac again because Isaac comes to her door again. And she's like, yeah, no, this ain't gonna work or something like that. And then she just closes the door on him. And he just stands there for a second. And then he's like, oh, okay. So anyway, we see the Orville has now arrived where there's two dwarf stars, I guess these are. Like there's a white dwarf star, and I can't remember what they call the other one. But basically, now I don't think this actually could happen like this, but we'll leave that for later if there's a take on that. But basically, they arrive here to view this, which is obviously something cool to look at. And everybody's pretty happy about it, and of course, but most people are too afraid to look at it, and they rather look at that mustache. But what can you do? What can you do? But anyway, and then now I don't remember what happens here, and why he has this face. Anybody?
Because Isaac made a mistake.
Yeah.
Oh, yes, I think you're right. Yeah, because Isaac's like, yeah, no, I calculated this wrong. So he goes to do
Diagnostics.
A diagnostic on him, on himself, I guess. And this is when Mercer comes in for the one part of the episode where he actually has more than one line of dialogue. He also, I don't know if you guys noticed, but Seth MacFarlane looked very hungover in this episode. Like, it looked like it was not very well. I don't know.
He directed the episode too.
Well, and that's one of the reasons why
he's the main writer.
Yeah, and he's the main writer. Yeah, so
and
maybe
he's an actor in the episode.
Well, and he's got to captain the ship.
And he's got to captain the ship.
He's got to pretend to be a captain too.
Yeah, and on top of that, he's got a guy with an amazing mustache that's threatening his job position. So yeah, that could be a problem.
Right.
Yeah.
But Isaac basically is like, yeah, I've run 97% of my diagnostics, and I couldn't find anything. And Mercer's like, well, maybe it's not that type of problem, So he basically has a little bit of a heart-to-heart with him. Maybe you should, do things a little differently. And Isaac just kind of, he's like, yeah, maybe.
But the main point there is that you've got used to her, and now now she's out of your life. Like
the suburb teams,
yeah,
or whatever, we're now used to her, so now this.
I mean, they did that a lot with Data. My subroutines are
yeah, constantly.
But I still like it.
Oh, absolutely, it's fine. We get some cool external shots here as well. And then we get Bortus, and he shows up, and he no longer has this cool stash. And
Clyden's protest got to him.
Clyden's protest got to him apparently, and he decided that wasn't cool. And at this point,
he's also been demoted. He's not the captain anymore.
Yeah, well, he can't run the ship anymore. That's for sure.
And it was itchy.
Yeah.
Which is the cause of me shaving everything I've ever grown off my face. It's itchy.
Really? Whenever I have facial hair, it doesn't itch at all. I don't know.
There's a period where it itches, and then
I never noticed that. Or at least maybe I just don't pay attention.
Adjusts, maybe.
I've only ever known Kevin with a beard, so I guess
if you ask his wife, he shaved it once, and it was a big mistake.
He was born with the beard, really.
Yeah.
There are pictures of him like from a very early age at like 2, where he's got like a full beard on.
He's got a full beard.
He's playing with like toys, and he's got a full beard. It's crazy. But anyway, so Claire's here to report something. I can't remember exactly what she's reporting, but something related. And this is when Isaac kind of steps up. Oh no, she got paged to the ship, but
like, you called me to the bridge, and the captain
everybody's like,
me.
We didn't call you. Yeah, what are you talking about? And Isaac's like, it was me. And then this is when she's like, oh, for fuck's sakes, like, come on, man. And even like Mercer's like, dude, you're on the creepy level at this point. Bortus is still not happy. Everybody's giving the side eye. I love it. But anyway, so this is his spontaneous thing, which he makes it rain on the deck, which I think is probably a bad idea. But I guess everything's waterproof. I'm not sure why you would waterproof
just in case, I guess.
Just in case you did it. Well, the fact that you have the ability to create rain on the bridge to begin with seems like a bad idea.
but for this callback, why, if everything is waterproof, why did he have to keep his drinks under the equipment? Remember when he asks if he can have
Lamar
soda on the bridge?
If he can,
maybe they've upgraded, Kevin, to keep that problem.
Maybe they upgraded because Lamar
maybe
got close to spilling a drink. Who knows? But anyway, that's a good point though.
Or they just didn't want him to drink. on
The
bridge.
fact that everybody here is just sitting in this rain annoys me, because somebody's got to have gotten up and went, I'm not fucking sitting in this, and then they walk out, right? But if you notice, the only people that are here are our main cast members. Like
it's a magical moment, Jody.
it's a magical moment. Even and he's like, man, I gotta sober up. I gotta stop drinking at work. This is getting crazy. But anyway, Isaac's like, I wanted to give you this, blah blah blah, and this is a heartfelt moment for her. So she's like, oh, this is great. So anyway, this is kind of, she's like, oh, blah blah blah. I don't even really remember what she says. Quite honestly, at this point, I'm like, why is it still raining? But you'd think the effect would be fine, but you don't need to like flood the deck. Like, like if you notice, like all the carpets are all like soggy wet now.
Well, let me just ask you, how do you guys like this as an ending? Like, is this
I love it. I think that if you Singing in the Rain, it started with that. It ends with that, which is a romantic movie song, and they took the title from it, right?
A Happy Refrain.
A Happy Refrain.
Yeah, I walk down the lane with a happy refrain. Yeah. And I'm singing. Yeah, so
singing in the rain.
I don't know.
Very Seth MacFarlane.
Well, he's a very big show, like live show kind of guy, right? Like he loves
the classics. He loves the MGM movies, and
yeah, he's a very big musical, and
this is what he's like got nostalgic, romantic for, whatever you want to call it. I guess not nostalgic. He wasn't alive in this period, but he's got a lot of affection for it. It comes through very classic, and I think that this episode, I agree, does end in a very like sort of fitting way. I think it's almost like a little movie,
Yeah. Even I still think there are parts that drag, and I would have liked to see a little bit of a B storyline here, even if it's just like,
which is a mustache.
Clyden and Bortus just like bickering about it every so often. I would have liked to see a little bit more of.
I think you want a longer episode. I don't know what else you could cut. Like it's.
Well, you can cut the multiple dinner dates. I don't think they need that many, but anyway,
can't cut that stuff.
Whatever.
You might. I don't know what you can cut.
But anyway, Claire obviously likes this sentiment. And then, everybody's soaking at this point. Like, this doesn't seem practical.
This would have sucked more to film than to actually, like, if you were in character, have to live.
Well, the worst thing is, like, you can see their suits getting actively wet. So it's like they gotta, I wonder how many standbys they had to do retakes and stuff.
Yeah.
Like, how do you dry the set?
You're just getting rained on all day in the set. That would suck. But if in the fiction and the magical world of the show, it only lasts for like 2 minutes, and then they can clean it up. Whatever.
They can turn it off or whatever. Yeah. So anyway, they embrace. Everybody's happy about it apparently, except for maybe Gordon. And at this point, this is where they kind of do the old timey, pan out from the two people about to kiss, which we get kind of a cool little pan out here that goes out to the ship. And then it goes into this, and you see the two of them walking away into the holodeck again. And this is where you see Isaac basically converting back to his human form again.
Get it on?
Well, they did the last time, so probably.
Well, you got your doors closing here, Dave.
For sure.
Yeah, the door does close, but I didn't capture that, unfortunately. But that's it. That's the episode.
They don't eat anything. Like food.
Well, they do eat things, Evan, but
right. It's almost Christmas time. I'm not to step on your fun facts, Adam.
Speaking of which, do we want to do ratings or fun facts?
Fun facts.
I think we need to do fun facts. You try, but I don't think it's the same thing. Fun fact, Adam.
It's a fun fact.
All right.
Okay. You guys ready?
Oh, that's not the one. There we go.
Okay.
Yes, I'm ready.
We got to see the Union.
I thought you were delayed.
No, I'm good. We got to see the Union Symphony. The orchestra was composed at the same people that do the soundtrack for the Orville, as you noted, and also under the direction of a famous conductor called Mark Graham. He's the head of the music preparation for the Orville, but also did productions for Star Wars Episode 9, Toy Story 4, Avengers Endgame, Lego Movie 2, Family Guy,
wow.
Simpsons, Daredevil, American Dad. So he's got a lot going on, that guy.
Rower knows music, that's for sure.
The music in the episode in Orville in general is really good. I don't like it quite as much as some of the classic Star Trek scores, but you know, it's up. It's
I
good.
think it's a solid one. Yeah,
It's like it's not as good as Babylon 5 either, but you know, it's
wow.
Jesus
Yes, we
fucking
keep hearing about that.
if only you knew.
I like the 80s music they play, Journey, when they get
Yeah.
Oh, in this episode too, we heard Centerfold.
Yeah. Angels in the Centerfold and
Oh,
Yeah,
really?
on the bowling alley. In the bowling alley. Yeah.
Oh, it was in the bowling alley. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That would make sense.
So Jody, you would have liked this. There was a golf game between John Gordon and Isaac and Bordas and Clyden.
Oh, that would have been amazing.
where's that scene?
Where's that?
It was actually cut before the episode aired. It killed the producer to leave that scene out.
Why? They could have easily kept that one. Come on.
He needed a golf.
I'm
game,
very
so-
sad for that, actually. I bet
Apparently, you can find it out there, so you can. We should probably give that a watch sometime.
Oh, for sure.
Did you guys talk about when Claire asked Isaac to come in and proofread her paper at the beginning?
Yes.
About how AI that is now, like ChatGPT. It's just
Yeah.
Not that we were just more like she doesn't even know how to write this paper, and Isaac wrote it for her, so it's kind of cheating. It was
Yeah. Like, what
this
kind
was my
of
take on it.
doctor is she?
Yeah. If one pauses to read the Claire's paper about tissue regeneration, there's actually a note there that says, click here to read more. And minor spelling errors were actually added for Isaac to correct. So that was all legit. Ty, who is Claire's son, plays the etudes in major something from Chopin, but he's actually a talented child pianist and performed the song himself.
Oh, really? Wow. Good
There's
for
just
him.
all kinds of talent on this show.
Mhm.
There you go. No special effects.
When the director John Casa reviewed the script in preparation for filming, he was worried about how to film Ty playing the piano, but everybody was blown away. He recalled, and so I guess that those cheers were legit.
Reactions, yeah, it sells it.
That was pretty impressive.
Yep. Many of the flowers in Claire's bouquet are called stargazer lilies. And those same stargazer lilies were featured in a lot of Star Trek Next Gen episodes, in reference to Picard's stargazer.
If only we had the botanists here, Davin and Heather. They could have pointed that out for us in real time. It's
Neither of which want to be on this show.
true.
Very true.
Very true.
So I don't think that's happening anytime soon.
Yeah.
Okay, so Mark Jackson and Penny Johnson thought they were going to be naked during their sex scenes because the production crew told them that would be that way with a closed set. Penny Johnson and Mark Jackson worked out regularly in preparation, and they were disappointed to discover they were only filmed for the neck up.
But they were naked?
I love that they worked out in preparation. Like, yeah, I'd be pissed off too if I did all that working out for nothing.
Yep. Once filming concluded, the two went out for donuts.
Oh, there you go.
Well, I guess
Yep.
they got ripped. But
They deserve the donuts.
Yeah, A Happy Refrain is also being compared to Next Gen in theory and explores the relationship between Data and Jenna DeSora, which I liked a lot. I like that episode a lot too.
I like that episode too, but this is a much more happy, optimistic take on it. Whereas that episode, the relationship with Data and her doesn't work, and it's interesting in its own right. But I like this one better. I would rather watch this.
But there's a ton of similarities between the two.
Oh, of course there's. Yeah.
Absolutely. There's always that effect of the episode where, Star Trek already did this, almost 30 years ago, and other science fiction shows have done this, and it's almost like, I think they still found a new take on it because it's funny. I guess that's what makes this show different, is that it's got that comedic beat, so it's a new interpretation, so it doesn't feel stale or
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I don't think it does either. I mean, you could see it, but when you start thinking about how Data acted when he was trying to be angry with her, and
Yeah.
and
Are you not enjoying our lover's quarrel?
That's right.
Maybe this has to do with you, with your mother.
Imagine Data and like the underwear and all that. That would have been. That might have been funny.
That would have been something. He would have looked like he did on Night Court.
Yeah, I'll leave it with this one. When Lieutenant Dan learns Isaac has a date, he says "Sweet Emotion," which is likely a reference to "Sweet Emotion" by Aerosmith. And there was one I read too. I can't find where it is, but apparently in Kelly's quarters, around her food dispenser, she has a album cover of Journey somewhere. Posted up in her.
Kelly's a big Journey fan.
Yeah.
Don't worry.
She's mentioned Journey before.
She's one of the faithful.
She sang it. She karaoke.
Yeah, she even sang it. Yeah.
Yeah. It's actually a real favorite band in real life, apparently, too.
Yeah.
All right.
Ratings.
Yeah, that's not as good.
No, it doesn't work. It's not a thing.
For sure. Is this mine or yours?
Yours.
This is mine? Oh, okay. Let me F11 that. All right. Now we're gonna wait on Jody's response. Adam, what are you gonna give this?
Oh, I'm gonna give this a solid 8. I quite like it.
Solid 8. All right. 8.0 for the Adam. Mr. Dave.
9.
9. Wow.
9.5.
9.5. Oh my, we're going crazy over here. Kevin.
8.5.
Right in the middle there. All right. You know what? I'm more with Adam on this one. I think it's a solid episode, but there are better. So I'm gonna go with 8, which put us at a combined rating of 8.5. So there you go. Kevin was right today, apparently.
Not just about this either.
Not
about
just
a lot
about
of things.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Oh, good. So
Way to go, Kevin. Way to go.
IMDb
Thanks.
gives this one an 8.1, which with our combined average, that makes it an 8.3. So very solid episode, which, I think we need that. So, but overall, I think it's that was good.
You know what I'm kind of enjoying about the Orville is that every episode title has more to it than just the
Yeah.
It's often a reference to a song.
Yeah.
Or something like that.
Or a Shakespeare play or something. I mean,
A movie.
Yeah.
Like The King and
One
I
of
or
Seth
whatever.
MacFarlane's interests. It is.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It is his passion project, his self-indulgence, if you will, where's just like on Picard's thing, Reese's.
Enough of this self-indulgence.
No, Seth MacFarlane says no.
That is
Let's do
self-indulgence.
it all up because he made all those other things, and then he's like, now that I can do whatever I want, I'm going to make the Orville, and I'm going to make myself the captain. And I'm
But
gonna
Dave, I know what you're actually thinking. You're thinking, what's the next episode?
I was
Is that what you're
thinking
thinking?
that.
Were you thinking that?
Are you a telepath, Jody?
I might be. I just might be. And of course, the next episode is episode 7 from season 2, which is called Deflectors. The ship's deflectors upgrade leads to a conflict between the Moclan culture and the crew.
Was it on a Tuesday?
Was it on a Tuesday? What do you mean? I don't get it.
Well, that's when they install things.
Oh, maybe. That's not this show, though, guys. We already covered that show.
Yeah, right.
Oh,
Jeez.
I got the days confused. I thought it was Tuesday when it was Wednesday.
No, that was good, Dave. All right. Well, anyway, that wraps it up for tonight. But you know what? The good thing is, Dave, just because this is over doesn't mean we're done. Because we have a lot of things on this channel. And, of course, the United Federation of Podcasts in general.
Absolutely, lots of great content to check out. Check out X-Rated. Check out Super Mario Brothers right now, of course, doing Survivor, and hey, did you see this one? They're doing like a Freddy Krueger movie every week, I think, or something. Check them out on Thursdays, and of course here on this channel, Live Long and Podcast. Very soon we're going to be talking about Star Trek Lower Decks on Thursday night. We got a great panel to break down the first episode titled Dos Ritos, I believe. It's going to be me, Davin, Ashley Millard, and Chris Murphy. And it's going to be...
Not only that, but you also covered a kind of an interesting episode recently of RuPaul's Drag Race.
Last night, RuPaul's Drag Race, I went through with Ashley and Heather and Murphy. Or no, Justin.
You were there. I wasn't.
Justin was there.
Okay.
And I was representing for our division, guys. I was our division, as it was known. And
But it was Star Trek themed, right?
it was start,
Well,
this
it was supposed to be.
It was supposed to be. It was very loosely Star Trek. But I would go check out this podcast. It was hilarious.
I actually want to see this just to what Dave said. Because
Just go
I'm
to
sure
watch
there's
Heather
some good things.
Narduzzi in full Andorian makeup. That alone.
Oh well, that alone is worth it
is
right
worth
there.
watching it on YouTube.
Yeah.
So
We're BFFs. If you
it was
didn't
actually Mirror Dave that went. It wasn't me.
Mirror Dave.
Yeah, from the Mirror Universe.
know. Were you shaved?
No, Mirror Universe. Dave just still has a beard, but he shows his guns more.
Okay. On that note, I don't know how to follow that. Quite honestly.
Oh, and we're trying to fit in one more episode of Star Trek: The Next Generation. Conspiracy.
I
Sometime
love that
soon,
episode.
Just so
Am
we
I
can
on
wrap
that
up
episode?
Well, somebody will be on it. I'm trying to figure out when.
I hope I am.
It's all going to come down to when it happens because I need to try to find time.
I will try to make time.
And with
because
everything
I
else
love
going
that
on right
episode.
now, it's hard to fit in. So
That is literally one of my favorite episodes of Star Trek: The Next Generation.
It's my least favorite episode.
It's so terrible. It's great.
I love it.
It's my version of Sub Rosa that all you guys like.
You know what the problem with that episode was, and they already know.
Sub
Jody,
Rosa.
I'm telling you. Not just Sub Rosa. This because they never did anything more with it.
But just appreciate for what it is.
No.
It was a
dead
one-hit
end.
wonder, buddy,
Yeah.
and it was fantastic. I loved it.
Yeah.
It's a terrible episode. Don't get me wrong. but
I
it's
love
so
it.
much
It's
fun.
like they're eating the worms and everything. And,
I just love it at the end when they like kill all of them. It's so,
I do like the Admiral. What's his name again? He's doing these
Quinn.
high kicks.
Yeah, he's
Quinn.
doing these like
Yeah.
massive high kicks and
Yeah, he throws him across. He throws Geordi across the room like a rag doll. His
Yeah.
words.
Yeah, there
it's
was
good.
definitely a coolant leak that day.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to doing that one when we find the time. So look out for
Oh.
that, and of course, Lower Decks on Thursday. We'll be on for that.
Exactly. All right. Well, unless anybody else has anything else to say, I think it's time to sign off.
All right, have a good one, everybody.
Good night.
Beam up some Star Trek content with Live Long and Podcast. Tune in to X-Rated, the X-Men animated review show. Artistic interviews with graphic histories. A roundtable movie discussion with Hey, did you see this one? And movie reviews with Hold Up, a movie podcast. And while you're at it, spin a few records with Eamon on Track. Watch us duke it out on trivial debates. And let's chat about TV with the Super Mater Brothers. It's all here on the United Federation of Podcasts.